Hello, welcome to the It's Your Time live stream show and podcast with me, your host, Abigail Barnes. Each week, we bring you transformational stories from entrepreneurs and professionals around the world who are sharing their life-changing experiences to give you proof of what's possible after adversity, as well as inspiring and motivating you to take control of your time and take action on your dreams. So this week, I am so delighted to be joined by the amazing Hana Gray. Hana is the founder of the Office Management Group, which is a unique specialist consultancy and a space for office and administrative professionals around the world to network online via a portal and do courses, trainings. They've also got awards and other amazing initiatives, underpinned by her core beliefs that offices are office personal and that these people are the backbone of any business. So Hana's mission is to support and ultimately empower professionals around the world across all aspects of office operations. And I am just absolutely delighted to have Hana with us today to share her story, her thoughts, and her sort of insights on what it's like when you start living your life on purpose, living the life that you want to be living. So welcome to the show, Hana.
Thank you very much for having me, Abigail. It's a pleasure to be here.
So exciting. Let's get stuck in with the question then that we ask every guest. And this is just so that we can start to build up a picture of how people get to where they get to. So tell us what 4-year-old Hana was like.
Well, as my mum said, sorry, the dog's going to bark because the postman's coming, the timing. So yeah, my mum would say and remind me, particularly now that I've got my business, that she always thought I was going to be, successful within a business, or certainly, within my own business. And the reason for that is because, probably at the age of 4, maybe 5, I would do anything to make money. So I would press flowers from my mum's garden. She's a keen gardener, much more green-fingered than I am. And I would press flowers and try and sell them we lived in like a cul-de-sac, so we're very close to our neighbours. And I would sit with our little sort of plastic table and chairs at the front of our drive and have like a sign up and sell bottled perfumes to my neighbours. Yes, because that's just the kind of kid I was. I was always being creative in like a business acumen sense, where I was trying to see, ways in which I could, I suppose, generate money, fulfill a sort of, purpose with the resources that I had around me, be it the garden, petals and things, or there were some other things that I did. I think I was trying to sell mud once in mud pie format. But we did, like lemonade stands in the summer and things like that. I always wrote my brother into it, who's younger. So I think I always had some sort of entrepreneurial spirit within me, even at a young age of 4, 5, whatever. And I was cheeky as well. I had a good, maybe too much confidence at that age as well. So I wouldn't be shy to try and sell these things to my neighbours. And of course they bought them because I was 4 and it was cute. So I think I always had that within me.
That's amazing. I love it. And I think that this question is really, really pivotal for people to sort of start to see the patterns. So I forgot to mention at the start, as you are joining us, let us know where you're joining from. And if you've got a question for Hana, then put it in the comments. And if you're watching this on the replay as well, let us know that you're watching this on the replay, because we would love, love, love to hear from you. If you're watching this in the future or listening to this in the future on our podcast, then also you can leave a comment and we'll get back to you. So Hana, next question then. What would you say success meant to you while you were growing up?
I think success takes different forms, and success is very individual and unique to every single person. For me, it was a feeling of satisfaction and pride. So I would, for example, we were talking about this, I think, yesterday in the office management course that we were running, because we were talking about how, you know, the cost of living, things have gone up relative to how much we're now getting paid. And I was talking about one of my first ever jobs as a washer-upper in a local pub to us, that was a family friend's pub. And yeah, I had like a Saturday, Sunday job there, after the sort of, particularly on a Sunday after the roast dinners were served, to do the washing up. And you know, it was fine. It wasn't the most glamorous job, and I certainly went home smelling of, you know, fry-ups and chips and things, and beer. But I was saying to them that every time I got to be a waitress, because some days the pub would be so busy that I would have to step out onto the floor, and I was only 14, and I would have to step out onto the floor and waitress and support the other waitresses, or if one of them had called in sick, I would take that spot, and I would love it. Like, I would love the interaction that I got with people. I'd love the tips that I got, of course, as well, because people would tip, and yeah, to me, that was kind of like a successful day where I'd almost stepped into what felt like at the time a bit of a promotion, and also pushing myself somewhat outside of my comfort zone, because certainly the first few times I did it, you know, you've got to remember, I had a pad and pen. It wasn't, you know, a posh pub, let's put it that way, where you had to remember it and walk away and pop the order in. It was a pad system, and that got stuck on a wall in the kitchen. But still trying to remember things like the specials, like a, you know, rhubarb crumble or whatever it might have been, was challenging. And I remember going home, you know, and I would have to wear a uniform if I was on the floor as such, rather than in the kitchen doing just the washing up. And I remember the days when I would go home after the waitressing, feeling that sense of satisfaction, that sense of pride, which to me felt like success, even though it was just, you know, and I don't mean just in a derogatory way, but just a waitressing job at the age of 14, not something that I wanted to do, you know, long term for my career. But certainly it was starting to build, for me, very important foundational blocks in interacting with customers, which is something that, you know, even in a B2B business, you do all the time. You're networking, you're learning about, you know, you'd have your regulars and you'd have your kind of one-offs that you might not ever see again. And I found it all very fascinating and a great learning opportunity. So for me, success is multifaceted in that way. It's about what for you is important. So for me, it was pride, and it was feeling like I was growing and somewhat stepping out of my comfort zone, and being comfortable with that once I'd kind of done it. But also, yeah, there's an element of money there, because of course I would go home with more money than I would if I was just doing the washing up, because of the tips. And yeah, just that kind of core, you know, like the belly flip feeling that you get when you do something you're proud of, or you're excited by, or you get that great feedback from your manager or your client or whoever it is that you're interacting with. Or even, you know, when your mum or dad said, when your mum or dad says, you know, I'm really proud of you. And you kind of just get that wonderful, heartwarming feeling. That to me is also an element of success. So there's various forms for me that build up that overall picture.
I love that. And can you see, like, who were your influences? Did you have family, friends, relatives? Like, where did it come from?
Yeah, sorry, runny nose on a Friday. Yeah, so I definitely had some influences around me. So there were some teachers for me that were seemingly, to me at the time, and certainly, you know, I'm sure still now, successful in what they did, in the sense of how much passion they had about their relative teaching topic. So one of the people who inspired me and really got me to love history, and, you know, the fascination that I had with the First World War, the Second World War, and various other historic events, was a man called Mr. Singleton. And he would sometimes like get so excited about a topic, and like the Titanic. I learned about the Titanic for the first time in his lessons, and I was fascinated by it. And then the film came out not too long after we'd been taught about it, actually. And he would get so passionate and so enthused by these subjects, and outraged almost as well, where Hitler was concerned, outraged. And he would at times like jump on the chairs. He was quite a short guy, so I think it was to kind of be seen by all the students, but he would jump on the chairs. And so to me, even though I never wanted to be a history teacher, and even at the age of sort of 14, 15, 16, as I was building up to do my GCSEs, I didn't really want to do anything to do with history. I was enjoying learning about that subject, and also feeling and being inspired by him. But yeah, it wasn't a subject I wanted to really take forward into a career. And so I think people like that taught me, regardless of what it is you choose to do in your career and in your life, passion is one of the most important things that drives you. And so I think it was people like that. My dad was a successful businessman. He made good money. He was very sort of senior in the company that he was in. So I think there was probably an influence from a young age there. And my mum as well. I mean, she didn't work when I was really little and went back to work. There's three of us children. And yeah, she didn't go back to work until I think my brother was of school age. And then she sort of started volunteering, going back, sort of building up to going back full time. And she ended up staying at the school for a long time, like something like 30 years or whatever it was. But even though that to me wasn't necessarily a career, looking back on it, like I don't think I saw her as a career woman. I saw my dad as a career man. But I think just how hard she worked as a woman, as a mother. We had 2 dogs as well. And my dad traveled all over the world most of the time. Like, he was very rarely there for my birthdays, because November was always generally the time when he squeezed in a lot of business travel before Christmas. So I think, again, I had an awful lot of admiration and respect for my mother because of how hard she worked in life in general, regardless of it being related to her career. And Victoria Beckham is one of my inspirations, which people are always confused by. But I think because of the stick that she gets in life, and the fact that she went from this kind of pop star, which I think she would be quite, open to admitting that she was probably the least talented of the Spice Girls. And hence why she probably didn't want to go on the tour again, because she just didn't want to open up that box. But, she has this wonderful family who, I'm sure there's a lot that goes on behind closed doors and whatever, but who are a unit, who are united, and who clearly, from what you can see on socials and some documentaries they've done in the past, who love each other very much. She is a very successful businesswoman. I might not agree with everything she does or says or whatever, but to me, growing up in the Spice Girl era, she was always, even in the band then, before she set up the business, somebody that I felt like I could relate to. My friends, I always wear black and white. And so my friends would always, and blonde is not my natural colour, so I had a similar hair colour to her, and I had the bobs and pobs and things. So my friends would generally call me posh sometimes and say, oh, you're posh Spice. So
I love that.
A few.
So fun. But it is so interesting when we look and we see the different people, that then it's like, oh, okay, yeah. I hadn't really truly thought about it, but then it's like, that was it. So your career, what what did it look like? What does it look like today? And talk to me like about the pivotal moments when you decided to do different things.
Yeah, so there's a couple of moments in my career. So one of the first sort of moments, I suppose, when I recognised that I was capable of success, and when I say success, I mean my own sort of story as success, was when I was at Waitrose. So I worked at Waitrose through sort of from the age of 16, essentially, whilst I was doing my A-levels, or AS and A-levels, and then when I went into college, so I did a legal secretarial diploma at college. And when I was sort of on the brink of leaving there to go and get my first full-time job, I was approached by my sort of section manager. Like, I worked on the delicatessen, so the meats, the chickens, cheese. I'm a cheese expert. I kid you not, I'm a qualified cheese expert. Wow. And so I'd been there for about 3 years, and yeah, they approached me and said, we'd really like you to consider staying and training up as a branch manager. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, working in a checkout supermarket always fascinated me, because I'd play like the shop game when you were little, you know, and go beep, make the noise. And yeah, so I was like, okay, so I didn't completely close it off. I was more keen, I think, to go and work in an office, and again, inspired somewhat by Victoria Beckham, be like a superstar, high-flying PA or EA for a celebrity, or a you know, entrepreneurial CEO, whatever. You know, like I was thinking Richard Branson, Victoria Beckham at the time. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm open to it. Let's have a look. And then they brought the head of HR for Waitrose down to meet with me. This is how serious they were. So I was 19 years old, and they were like, you know, the way you've mentored the sort of younger colleagues coming in for the first time and train them, and your attitude, we think you'd be an amazing branch manager, and we'd love to put you on our training program. And I suppose I may have done it if it wasn't for this move that I had to make at such a young age, to sort of fly from the nest and go up to basically the Midlands. I live in Essex and was raised here. And yeah, I'd have had to go sort of a 2-3 hour car journey away. They'd put me up in some sort of accommodation, you know, where they partially funded the rent or the, you know, the bills, whatever. But and that was the thing that stopped me, because it was just, I just wasn't ready to leave my family at that time and take that risk for something that I wasn't entirely sure I wanted to do. But what that did is instill in me something that I hadn't realized or recognized was there before, that other people were seeing something in me, be it my drive, be it my passion, be it my people skills, because I was nurturing and mentoring. So that was the first kind of moment. And then that kind of thing continued through my career. So I became a branch secretary for an estate agent. And when I left, you know, not long into being there, it was about a year or so later, they asked me to come back and take on the management of all the branch secretaries. So I was 20 years old, and they asked me to manage 19 secretaries at the age of 20. Most of them, only a couple, were younger than me. So that was a huge challenge, but also, again, that moment of, wow, like, and it was men. Wow, you guys believe in me, you know, and you're seeing something in me. So it started to just resonate, and the themes were often the same sort of thing around, you know, the people skills, the management skills, that nurturing, the mentoring, the passion that I had for the job that I did, and the passion for sharing my experiences and my learning. And then fast forward, you know, worked at JP Morgan, RBS, ING Real Estate. Same sort of things occurred. Within JP Morgan, I had a promotion from PA to the CEO and COO as kind of their backup PA, because they had their own dedicated ones, and I was backup, to then being an office manager, because I'd got involved in some office management stuff whilst the office managers were off. And they asked me to go into an office management role. So that was the first time I had ever really done that. I'd got involved in office moves and things before in previous companies, but that was the first time I was really taking on in a big company. You know, I looked after over 1,000 staff when I became the office manager. Yeah, late nights. And yeah, so that theme continued. And when I then was at my last permanent full-time job, it was a private German investment bank, and I was the operations manager, and I was on track. The managing director and partner had said, you know, we want to put you on track to become our COO for Europe or London or whatever it was. And so they were going to mentor me. And I think in life you always have pushes and pulls. So the idea to have this business had been inspired when I left JP Morgan and went to RBS, and I saw how well run processes were at one firm and not so well, and I'll let you guess which way around that goes, at the other. And so that's when the sort of light bulb clicked where, oh, there could be a business in this in terms of doing like office management consultancy and training and helping people run their offices better, because everybody seems to focus on HR, on IT, compliance, consultancy, and all these kind of streams, but nobody's really looking at the office manager. And that's often somebody that's, for want of a better word, lumbered with responsibilities like an office move, or, you know, like an office fit out project, or, you know, onboarding joiners with very little notice and things. And no one's really training them and showing them how to do it well. And again, that light bulb just grew and grew and grew into a whole light fitting by the time I was at this last company. So it was always there, 5 years kind of in the making. And yeah, there was some failed promises, let's say, at this last company. They'd kind of promised me, you know, almost world domination, as you might call it, in the capacity that I had. And it didn't really happen. And it was much more political than I'd been led to believe. They headhunted me. So I turned it down at first, and then they came back with a better offer some months later and pushed. So they really wanted me, and had promised the world, let's say. And it didn't really happen a year or so in. And I had this wonderful team that I'd built up who were basically running the office without me really having to get involved day to day. And so something just occurred, a few things occurred within the space of a morning, and I basically just resigned without a plan because I just had enough. So it's not something that I planned as well as I would have liked to in hindsight. Maybe built up a bit of a business in the background and then quit my, you know, very nice paid job, being a very successful woman in the city. But that's not life, right? That's not reality. And that was where the passion also started to come in as well, because I was like, no, you know, something doesn't feel right here anymore. And there were opportunities personally in terms of finance to be able to take that risk and start up the business. And so, yeah, that's how it started. I just resigned one day, didn't know that's what I was going to do. And they put me on garden leave pretty much straight away because I was very senior in the company. And I started my business, and they knew that's what I was going to do as well.
Oh my goodness me. I love it. And this is about you today, but just to say, your and my journeys are so similar.
Really?
It is like we are the same person, but clearly we're not.
Tell me about it after this.
I think this is why I resonate so much with you. And so just to unpack this, so this show is for anybody who is thinking, I want to do something else, I don't know how to do it. Do I have permission? Do I need permission? Do I need this or that or the other? La, 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 la. So every week, I would love you to start to see that I am bringing you people, guests on who are sharing with you their journey and how it went, their thought processes and how it went. Hannah and I both pretty much jumped without plans. Now, I speak for myself. I can't speak for Hannah. I would not really recommend it to anybody. It's a very high risk strategy, but it was in a time when there wasn't the situation that we're in right now. It wasn't as easy to just go from these, you know, super high flying jobs to start your own business. There was a lot of pushback. But in this day and age that we are in now, there are many more ways that you can build a business alongside your day job, evenings, weekends, after work, before work, lunch times. Websites are so easy to get done.
Yeah.
Payment processing is so easy to get done. All of the things. I mean, we could do a whole nother show, I'm sure, about like in the early days.
Doubled of sort of 6 years ago building a business versus now.
Yeah.
You know, and if you take it back even further than that, like it would have been impossible years and years ago without the technology we've got now. So
and this, I guess, is what's very interesting when you speak to somebody about it, and depending on, you know, their experience, you know, their age, their generation, they are going to have a different sort of circumstance, and so they obviously are going to give you different thoughts and views based on what they know, and we can only do what we know based on what we know. So I love this, and Hannah has sort of demonstrated like a journey from the age of 4 to where she is now, and that literally it's just do whatever it takes to get it done. And I spend so much time talking to people about, like, I work hard, I do this, I hustle. I'm like, look, it's not necessarily about hard work. It's about find something that you enjoy and work. Mm-hmm. Like, there is no hard or easy. Like, you're not going to start a business and it's easier, or get a different job and it's about you find the thing that you love, and when you love it, then mm-hmm. it doesn't feel like it's work. It's still work, though, you know, because there's still things that need to get done. Yes, so much of the conversation is semantics, but anyway.
Yes.
So what would you tell your younger self, knowing what you know now?
Don't quit your job that day. It's not that much younger, but it was still, you know, almost 6 years ago. In all seriousness, I would say to keep going. You know, we all have times and days when we feel like giving up. I was very badly bullied through high school, sort of physically and verbally at one point, and that was a dark time for me. And had I have known then what I know now would have happened, you know, almost like a crystal ball moment, or where, you know, you get the cloud and you see in movies where you're like, okay, that's what will happen in the future. And that's the kind of person that I'll become. I think I would have come out of some of the darker periods a bit faster, and but at the same time, what happens to you in your experiences in life, be they being bullied, be they being the bully, which obviously I don't condone in any manner whatsoever, but it's shaping and it's molding and it's building you. And for me, it was really about building a character that didn't really take crap, you know. It gave me thick skin. So I think that was very important, particularly in the roles that I then did in terms of office management, because, you know, you'd get a lot of so I think I would say, you know, don't give up, and it does get easier. There's also elements where it gets harder, and to the 4-year-old me, I would just say I love you very much, and I'm really proud. Because you know, I was being me. I was being real. There was something in me that was trying to come out even at that young age, and I would just say, I'm proud of you.
I love it. I love it. And I think in some ways, like, what you're sharing is that it's going to be okay. Just keep going. There's a sentence that I like to say to my clients just to make them laugh. It's like that, Dory the fish, just keep swimming.
Yes, just keep swimming.
How do I know where I'm going? Just keep swimming. Like,
it's true.
It's when you stop and you sit in it that's the worst place to be. And what is that other phrase? Like, this too shall pass. So whatever you're going through right now. Oh, amazing. Yeah. It's so funny. Like, when you're on the journey and you do the things, you start to all have similar phrases. Like, I have this other one, winners always find a way. And that's because I will say to myself over and over again, find a way, find a way, find a way, find a way. You hit walls constantly. You hear no's constantly. And, you know, it's not a no, it's next one, next one. So where are you right now? What are you working on right now? How can we connect with you? How can we get involved?
So a lot. I think it's very apt that we're on a time management show, because people, even last night we were out for networking drinks, and people always say to me, I honestly don't know where you get the time. And sometimes I don't either. I wish I could buy it, but there's a lot going on. So I think now that the world has opened up again, or certainly here in England, we are chock-a-block planning events, because networking and building that community, as cheesy as that word comes across sometimes, but it's true, is really fundamentally important for the growth of our network, and for what we want to do with our office managers in terms of making sure that they're connecting to each other, because that's what didn't exist 5-6 years ago when I was in office management, or, you know, 15 years ago when I first started that JP Morgan job in office management. There was no courses, resources, magazines, press, articles, whatever relevant to support an office manager. So the foundational block, if you like, of our network, our office management portal, which is our online resource hub full of contacts and templates and all sorts of things to help office managers and small businesses really run their offices with ease, is that network in, unfortunately we can only do them in London at the moment, but I hope to go up to like Manchester at some point later this year and start building the network there, and then getting hubs set up internationally over the years to do that. So lots of events coming into the calendar, which I love, but it is also, event planning is hard work. And clearly for the last couple of years has been very difficult because the goalposts have constantly changed. So hopefully this year will be somewhat easier, but because we've had such a delay, we're literally having like an event every other week. Which is, my assistant is very busy at the moment. So that's happening. We've got the Office Management Awards. So the deadline for that closes on the 11th of February, so this coming week. And we will be doing the ceremony. I'd love you to come, of course, on the 16th of June in London at the Mayfair Hotel, which is just the most wonderful night of celebration. So our sort of catchphrase or slogan, if you will, about the awards is recognise, reward and celebrate every office management professional. Even if they haven't entered, we still celebrate and cheers to everybody in that profession, and then clearly somewhat more so for our entrance finalists and winners. And we just do that. We have a celebration. We're there in a room appreciating one another for everything that we've done and everything we've been through over the last 2 years, because the office manager's often been the one almost on like the front line within the office world, if you will, going in and putting themselves at risk when they haven't really wanted to make that office safe and keep it open for other staff. So my kind of heroes. And the office management course, which I'm in the middle of teaching at the moment, our advanced level, which is taking place over 6 weeks. We do it a day a week so that they're not taken out of their workplace for too long. And I absolutely, again, this is where my real passion is sharing knowledge and learning and information that actually applies to the job that we do, rather than what I call a lot of the kind of fluffy stuff which exists at the moment, which has its place. But for me, I'm a much more practically based teacher. So it's like, this is what you will get in your job, i.e. an office move will come up at some point, and that might just be an internal swing, or it might be a full-blown relocation, and there's going to be a lot more to do with that. So we teach them about the different types of office spaces that you'll get, and then the construction phases and all the different roles, signing the project off, and project management and all sorts of things like that, as well as health and safety, which everybody loves. So there's all sorts going on there. And then I have my consultancy clients as well that I support, and we've got the PA show, which you
the PA show.
Yes, I'm really, really pleased and excited that you agreed to speak, because again, so passionate about it. I've been championing it for a long time, since the PA show was Office at Olympia. I first heard of it like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was pushing to have it more focused on office managers. And now we finally have an entire theatre dedicated to sharing office management information, learning opportunities, again, sessions and so on. So it's the Office Management Conference at the PA show.
And I'm so excited to be there and to be speaking there, because it's so much fun. And like you say, events, meeting people, being around people, and just, I think that being able to share, this is what I'm going through, this is what's going on, how are you doing? And that's the power of community. That's the amazing side of the work that you do, is that you're not only giving them the practical, tactical, actionable things for their day job, but you're giving them a community of like-minded people. And it's not to be underestimated. We've all been in our caves for the last 2 years speaking to the walls,
to be around people.
And now it's time to be out and around people, and to go to all these events, to meet the people. Because we were talking about this in the last episode with my previous guest, serendipity I'm sure like you and I could talk about this on, but we're sort of coming to the end of our time. But just to sort of drop it in, then serendipity is such an amazing thing when you look back over your career, is that people would say, oh, you're lucky. But no, I go to the places. So then obviously I'm always in the right place at the right time because I'm in the places. So
Yes.
attending the events, doing the programs, and the networking side of training as well. It's so underestimated that the person you're sat next to could be a supplier, a connector, an employer in the future. And this is the incredible thing. So yeah.
Or a friend. So many of our members through the events are now genuine friends. Like they've got their own WhatsApp groups, which gives me a little bit of FOMO actually. And they're supporting one another. So it's kind of, through what I've done, it's inspired them to share their knowledge, you know, which, because I'm only one person, I don't have unlimited time to talk to every single one of them regularly. So the fact that they're doing that and they're creating their kind of own sub networks and friendships is incredibly emotive for me and powerful for them.
And just as an observer, this to me is an example of a good leader. Now, a good leader is somebody who empowers others to embody the teachings and to live the legacy on. Like, as the head of a business, you cannot be expected to be everywhere. And when everybody is sort of saying to you, like, I don't know how you have the time, it's because you empower others to lead. And I think that is such an amazing note to leave on. Hannah, you are so empowering, you are so inspiring, and I can't wait to hear people's thoughts on this episode. So if you've loved it, whatever you've taken away from this episode, let us know in the comments, because Hannah's given us generously over 30 minutes of her time today. She's a super busy woman. So, you know, we truly, truly appreciate that. If you're going to the PA show, can't wait to see you. If you want to find out about any of the other things that Hannah does, the links will all be in the show notes. The links to everything will be in the show notes. We could get Hannah to say it all, but let's just say.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that bit of the question out.
The links are in the show notes. So where do you hang out most on social media?
LinkedIn is probably our sort of most used platform.
Amazing. So it's Hana Gray on LinkedIn. Give her a search and you'll be able to find the office management group there. So Hannah, thank you so much for your time, for sharing your story, for your inspiration. I mean, I am going away from this absolutely buzzing and also kind of going, wow, we're so similar. But equally, it's proof that, you know, there's a lot of us have all gone through the same things and grown through it, and that it didn't kill us, it's made us stronger. So that is an amazing high point to end this episode on. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and keep washing your hands.